So I just want to do a quick video before we get started today, because when it comes to divine justice, this is going to most certainly strike some emotional chords in some people. And being a traumatologist, right, somebody that specializes in trauma, I have seen the after effects or the aftermath of so many evil acts in this world. And you have your right to your opinion. So this is just me presenting facts in the Urantia Book. I am not saying that this is truth, but this is the Urantia Book's truth, right? Whether or not it resonates with you is your choice, of course. But of course, since we're talking about divine justice, there are going to be some, what they claim to be facts that are presented, right? When it comes to how this universe is both administrated, and of course, when it comes to why evil things happen to good people. So to give you like a little foreshadowing when it comes to some other parts of the Urantia Book, not necessarily Ancients of Days, but why they describe how divine mercy and how divine tolerance, if you want to call it that, is administrated. I refer back to the original Lucifer rebellion, right, with the Declaration of Liberty and Caligostia, Lucifer, and Satan all rebelling with their lieutenants and corporeal staff. This rebellion, according to the Urantia Book, lasted for 200,000 years, give or take. Why? Why did the Ancients of Days and other administrative entities that are doing God's will permit this to happen? In one of the texts, it talks about Jesus and how when it comes to Christ Michael's son, Caligostia, who's mostly, or at least closely represented as being the devil, that was one of Jesus's sons, according to that text. And like any wayward son, any father, Jesus, our divine Father, would give that person every opportunity to change their ways and to grow from what both they have done and what they are doing to others. Right? And the first step towards this divine justice is that rapture that most religions believe, right? That judgment, at least initial judgment that we all receive, right? When it comes to those adjudicators. And then as we progress onto the other Urantia worlds, right? And then eventually Havona and then Paradise, according to the Urantia Book, that gets administered more and more. So putting things in a nutshell, right? I've heard and read in a lot of religious texts that time, space, and death all give us a sense of urgency, right? Like things need to get done. So when it comes to divine justice, right, and especially the more permanent solutions to all this, they try to give individuals as much opportunity as they can to make their own choices. Right. And like I said before in other videos, I always like Edgar Cayce's example when it comes to why God didn't create a robot versus a companion, because, of course, God wanted somebody to freely want to do their will and be with them versus just having exactly what you created. Right. How boring that would be. And not to mention, you never know if those entities would want to be with you. Right. Because they're not making that choice. That choice is always or has been made. Moxie, I've heard enough from you, okay? Stand by, and don't make a sound. God, robots these days, huh? All right, so when it comes to the rest of today's video, please keep all this in mind when it comes to this being an opinion. This is not fact. It is presented as fact in the Urantia Book, but like most religious texts, right? It's whatever resonates with you the most, right? It can be an eclectic serving of all the world's religions that you take with you, or just one that maybe stands out a little bit more. The reason why I keep choosing the Urantia Book is I believe there's not enough videos when it comes to providing this content to you guys. I mean, it's a feat in and of itself just to complete reading the book. So with that said, if you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. All right, here we go. For most Christians and individuals following Judaic traditions, the term Ancients of Days seems to be a familiar name, but yet whilst attempting to put your finger on who such a person is in the Bible, a layperson might simply believe it is one of the many names or titles that God possesses. In Hebrew traditions, we see that in the book of Daniel, that the Ancients of Days are a powerful figure seated on the throne judging nations. More precisely, in Daniel 7:9-10, it states that the thrones were set in place, and the Ancients of Days took his seat. His clothing was as white as snow. The hair on his head was like wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and its wheels were all ablaze. A river of fire was flowing, coming out from before him. Thousands upon thousands attended him. 10,000 times 10,000s stood before him. The court was seated, and the books were opened. The text goes on to describe this day's figure as having ultimate authority, having a creature with a horn and the eyes of a human, speaking boastfully, that was eventually thrown into a blazing fire, whilst others, which were judged, were stripped of all their authority, but were allowed to live for a period of time, perhaps signifying parts of the Lucifer rebellion. But who exactly is the Ancient of Days? When Daniel spoke of him, the context of their account describes the individual as a person. When describing God, most prophets describe such an occurrence as being the person, and a context describing an individual without equal, while Daniel describes various thrones being set in place, perhaps suggesting this figure is someone having significant authority similar to God themselves, but being apart from God. We know that in the same account that the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven, suggesting that the scene that Daniel was witnessing was not heaven, along with such a man being granted authority, glory, and sovereign power, very similar to the Urantia Book depiction of the events after Jesus Christ Michael ascended their own glory, and was verified by a similar, if not identical, figurehead. In such a text, we know that there are roughly 700,000 such creator sons, and seeing such an ascension in person must have been quite the event indeed. In the book of Enoch, we see an almost exact same description of another individual with having white hair as wool, sitting on a throne of glory, being surrounded by angels, including Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Phanuel, along with another Son of Man. Is such a figure also the Ancients of Days, or perhaps another figure we see in the Urantia Book that is unrevealed to us? In the Urantia Book, we know of the following existing titles for the Supreme Trinity personalities, which include the Trinitized Secrets of Supremacy, the Eternals, Ancients, Perfections, Recents, Unions, and Faithfuls of Days, which are revealed to us in the Urantia Book, but we are most certainly not going over the other ones. There is not enough time today. For the sake of brevity and exhaustion, we are only going to be focusing on the judicial arm of God today, which is described to us in the Urantia Book, named the Ancients of Days. The Ancients of Days is a significant concept in the Urantia Book, where they are described as being a group of 21 divine beings who hold authority over the entire superuniverses. And they play a crucial role in the governance and administration of creation. The teachings in the Urantia Book are extremely complex. It's probably one of the many reasons why most people put it down after probably a few hundred pages. And the idea of the Ancients of Days extends through various levels of existence. But here is a very brief summary that might entice you to conduct your own self-study on the matter. All right, number 1, the introduction to the Ancients of Days. The Ancients of Days are a high-ranking group of celestial beings who oversee the universal administration, particularly within the Grand Universe of Nebuchadnezzar, which is the local universe to which Earth belongs, also known as Urantia, hence where the book gets its name from. They are not merely figures of authority. They represent the divine wisdom, judgment, and governance that underpins the cosmos. The term Ancients of Days comes from the Urantia Book's description of them as wise and ancient beings who are eternal and unfathomable in their understanding of the universe, who have existed before recorded time, which designates them, of course, as being ancient. All right, number 2, cosmic authority and role. The Ancients of Days function in the governance of the universe by ensuring that divine laws are enacted, justice is upheld, and the entire cosmic system operates in harmony with the will of the Creator, who is also called the Universal Father. They are considered the supreme judges in the universe and oversee the executive, legislative, and judicial functions on a grand scale. Their purpose is to ensure that the divine order is preserved throughout all of creation, which spans multiple levels and dimensions at a macro level. The Ancients of Days presides over the organization and direction of the superuniverse and they maintain balance and fairness in the workings of the cosmos. They help resolve conflicts, govern the evolutionary process of worlds such as Earth, and oversee the development of sentient beings throughout the universe of universes. The Ancients of Days are said to embody the essence of divine fairness, wisdom, and our Universe Father's mercy. All right, number 3, the physical description and function of the Ancients of Days. According to the Urantia Book, the Ancients of Days are incredibly exalted and are described as being majestic in symbolic terms. They are usually depicted as sitting in judgment, with their throne representing a position of supreme authority. Their role is both functional and ceremonial. They are not just simply rulers in the traditional sense, but are also deeply involved in the spiritual and moral development of all beings within their jurisdiction. They oversee the affairs of the universes inside one of the 7 superuniverses, and their role is said to be central to the proper functioning of the system of government that stretches across the universes. Their jurisdiction is vast, covering the affairs of the entire universes, including a panel of 3 functioning in each of these superuniverses, of which our universe is a very, 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 very small representation of. Number 4, the superuniverse and the role of the Ancients of Days. In the context of the Urantia Book, the cosmos are divided into several layers of administration. The highest of these is the superuniverse. The Ancients of Days are primarily associated with the governance of one of these superuniverses, specifically the superuniverse of Urantia. Not going to say that one again, which contains our own local universe of Nebanon. Each superuniverse is administered by 3 Ancients of Days, who serve a particular role within the divine structure of the cosmos. These beings are not just judges, but they also hold the authority to make decisions about the progress of worlds, such as Earth, and the development of their inhabitants, as it took one to approve the creation of the very Urantia Book I am currently citing. When it comes to absolute authority, a unified panel of 3 has the uncontested right to destroy a personality, which is the most severe punitive measure our superuniverse overlords can execute, which destroys the person or soul, but allows God, the Supreme, to still absorb their experiences, signifying only partial extinction. The overall structure of these superuniverses is molded after divine ideals of justice, and the Ancients of Days ensure that these principles are maintained at all times. All right, the conclusion. The Ancients of Days as divine overseers. In summary, the Ancients of Days in the Urantia Book represent the highest level of spiritual and administrative authority in all of the universes. They preside over the superuniverses and are responsible for upholding divine justice and maintaining cosmic order. Their role is to ensure that all beings within their domain evolve in accordance with the divine plan, and that divine justice is meted out with mercy, wisdom, and fairness. The Ancients of Days serves as a model for all beings in the universe to aspire to, embodying the perfect balance of justice, mercy, and divine wisdom. Their existence emphasizes the importance of divine governance and the harmonious operation of the entire cosmos.